Hello, welcome to the 16-week educational information video. At this visit, we talk about a few different things. First off, hopefully as women are getting out of their first trimester, they're starting to feel a little bit better. So we like to talk about activity or exercise in pregnancy. And some of you may have already been doing some of that, or some of you haven't as much. And so we like to just talk about what exercise in pregnancy looks like. They used to talk a lot about heart rate for pregnant women or monitoring exercise for different reasons. And the current research is much less about focusing on things like your heart rate, but more about, as cliche as it sounds, listening to your body. We really recommend that women who have been used to, various workout or activity regimens, that they kind of stick to those. So for instance, if you're a runner, then that's something that you could continue with in pregnancy. You may have to end up modifying, but if you're not a runner, I would say don't become one in pregnancy. Really do things that your body has been used to. We talk about low impact exercises as being particularly good in pregnancy. So things like yoga, doing that. There are a lot of videos that you can do that at home without going out. So that can be great. I know that sometimes access to a pool right now might be harder, but swimming is something also that is low impact that sometimes is great for pregnant women. Walking outside is great. Be careful about sometimes those ice patches if those are still around. But in general, just finding activity that you have been used to doing is really, really good in pregnancy, and that can serve you really well throughout your entire pregnancy and for labor. We talk about that labor really is a workout of your life, and so doing activity is important in pregnancy. Other things that we talk about at this visit are a few things that we kind of talk now, but then get you ready for looking towards the future. And one of those things is if you haven't thought about who you would like to be your pediatric provider for your baby, then this is a time to maybe start thinking about that. So at the birth center, when you're here, we do an exam on the baby when they're first born. And then at your home visit, the nurse will also check in on baby. And that happens, 24 to 48 hours after the birth. But then we recommend that you see your pediatric provider usually somewhere between day 4 and day 7, sometimes sooner if the nurse would recommend that after your home visit. And so picking a pediatric provider is important to do prior to that 36 or 37 week appointment, just to make sure that you have someone lined up before you give birth. We bring it up early because some families like to seek out and meet with pediatric providers before they choose them. Other people will go off of a recommendation or location, and that's great too. But just know that that's something that we want you to be thinking about to establish, like I said, by the time you get closer to that 36 or 37 week visit. The other thing to kind of keep in the back of your head is that we have health foundations classes that are required for you to do. And one of them is an early home care class that goes over things to expect when you go home. So when we have you go home at that 4-hour mark, we want you to look at a few things and we prep you for that. Also, we really talk about ways to make your recovery go more smoothly and just prepping your space for the best postpartum experience that it can be. And so that class we do require here to do and at some point during pregnancy. Another class that we require for people that have not breastfed before, if you have had a breastfeeding experience and it's gone well, we don't require it, but if you have not breastfed or potentially if you'd like a refresher, then that class is for you. And at that class, as you can imagine, we go over, what to expect with breastfeeding. There's a lot of information about breastfeeding, and we of course will come alongside you postpartum to help with your breastfeeding experience, but we feel strongly and passionately that we can hopefully help alleviate some of those things that happen postpartum if we talk about them in pregnancy as well. Another class that we have at the birth center is called Managing Complications, and we have a video online for that class. So that information we want you to watch before your 36-week visit, because we will review that with you at your 36-week appointment. So that goes over several different things to expect with potentially any complications that might arise here at the birth center or transfers or things like that. We also do have childbirth education classes that are phenomenal here at the birth center. They are truly catered towards people that are birthing at Health Foundations, so we highly, highly recommend them. For first-time families, they're a great option to do, and for returning families, we actually also have a refresher class. So instead of a 4-week series, we have a 1-day class as well that you can take without doing that whole thing. You can do a refresher class. So if you're interested in that, you can talk with Ashley or look online to schedule those visits as well. Any questions about those things that I talked about, please don't hesitate to give us a call. Otherwise, we will talk to you soon. Thank you.